Sometimes we all forget that vehicles we drive in are much more than just getting us from A to B. Sometimes it can actually be fun to get going down the road. This week was kind of a re-energizing for my inner core. Specifically, this is the 2019 BMW X4 M40i. Now, what that does to me is, well, remind me that 0 to 60 comes in all forms and fashions, and somewhat helps me erase all those hybrids and minivans I've tested as of late. When we look at our daily drivers, there's a big connection we make when we buy the vehicle. Certainly the practicality getting us from point A to B safely, but at the end of the day, there has to be some fun. And certainly over the days and weeks and months that progress after, well, we tend to lose that kind of connection we originally had. Even forgetting that the windows roll down, the sunroof opens up, we just tend to go about the good old status quo. That typically happens to me just the same, but thankfully this week was kind of a re-energizing, and it all started with the kidney-shaped grills up front, this very sweeping aerodynamic profile, and the reminder that it actually can be quite fun to get behind the wheel. BMW refers to the X4 as a sports activity coupe. No, it's not an SUV, and no, it's not a sedan. It's just something in between. The coupe kind of referring to the overall sweeping of the roofline. Certainly this coupe comes with 4 doors. Now, what I also like is this coupe comes in fairly big, around about 187 inches overall, wheelbase fairly stretched about 112. Other good numbers to think about is width, around about 76 inches or 84, including the mirrors. As for height, fairly subdued at around about 63 inches and decent ground clearance at about 8. Sweep around to the back end. This is where you can see how the X4's silhouette really couples nicely with the other elements. And one thing I like is it combines a little bit of curvaceousness with edginess and not taking one too far over the other. Now, it first starts with this very elongated hood, nice ridge lines through the middle. That couples nicely with the ridge line right down the side. Now, as you sweep down, just a hint of flare out here at the bottom and a little bit of bow right through the door line. But as you sweep to the back, this is where you see how the silhouette truly comes into play. The roof and overall body staying tight, narrowing in just a hair at the back end. That provides a little bit of flare out here at the back, giving a little bit more curve and kind of stance there when you're looking from the rear. Now, what you're also going to see is what's well pronounced here at the 4 corners, specifically 245/40 tires in the front, 275/35s in the back, wrapping 21-inch wheels. Sweep around to the good old grill warfare. One thing you expect to see is the stylized kidney-shaped grills, but even better, they're subdued when it comes to overall look. Instead of BMW picking a bright chrome, they went with a nice subdued matte finish. That really couples nicely with this overall champagne exterior, really giving a touch of elegance here on this aggressive front end. Now, certainly down low, we do have some extra flare. That goes nicely with that flare I mentioned there on the side. Body color all the way around this vehicle. Now, when it comes to airflow, certainly have this huge open port down below here on the side. That one's implied, no airflow through there. But right through the middle, this is going to be adaptive, which means the grille really lets airflow as needed, shuts off when it doesn't. Now, as for safety up here, first you're going to have the nice adaptive LED lighting, really illuminates quite well. Lower lighting down below. Also parking sensors and front camera, side camera, and a camera at the back. Now, one thing to mention that goes with the overall aggressive look, the grille warfare, the silhouette, is the implied portholes here on the side. Now, these aren't operational, but give to the overall aggressiveness and keeps this vehicle certainly from looking like a plain Jane, because after all, with that aggressive growl going there at the back end, it can't look good old status quo. Now, one thing that certainly isn't status quo is the ingress into this vehicle, and certainly one thing we expect is the good old smart key system. Now, the key fob is fairly sleek, nice and slim. Basic operation on here, lock, unlock, and the rear hatch. Now, I would prefer that it would have the remote start on here. Certainly that is part of an app system, but this makes it so much easier when you can interact with the fob. Now, when you get to the door, what I like is BMW takes it to the next level. Just simply walk right up, put your hand here, unlocks with ease. Now, one thing to note, the way this vehicle is set up this week is from the driver's side, unlocks with ease on that door. As you open, unlock for the rest. Now, to lock it up, you just simply press right here, locks up real easily. Now, the one thing about that though is, where does the ingress stop? Now, where it stops is nowhere. Pretty much every door you go to, if the key's in your pocket, opens up with ease. Now, the best part, again, locking it. Now, when you get to the back end, one thing I talk about is security here at the fill-up area. And what I like here on the BMW is it's locked related to the vehicle. Now, when it's unlocked, you can simply pop it open with ease. But when you walk away, lock it up, everything locks up. It's just the next level of security, help ensure every part of this vehicle is safe. Grille warfare, profile prowess, both would fall flat if there was no wow factor here at the back end. And really what sets off the overall design, first off, is these outer haunches that really give it a nice width to the back end. Also, of course, is the profile that all culminates here at the back end, sweeping up with this nice implied rear spoiler. Now, you do see a huge bank of glass, but from the driver's seat, this truly does turn into almost like a porthole with a little bit of blind spot. But what's going to help with that is the backup camera and the surround view that really helps give you a visual despite the kind of shortcomings here with this glass. One other big feature to point out is there is no back windshield wiper. That basically is going to come into play when it is rainy. I didn't see that the water shielded itself as quickly as I thought. Certainly to help with that, you could apply some Rain-X or whatever. That will take the water away a lot quicker, but I would like for a windshield wiper to be here, of course, to clean it off as it's getting dirty. Now look at the rest of the design. You will see body color all the way around. Barely any chrome to mention, only around the BMW. Nice lower fascia that again couples nicely with the front end. And of course, that dual exhaust that gives you that nice rumble. Now it does for this edition of Road Warrior. A test drive behind the wheel of the 2019 BMW X4 M40i, a vehicle that took me out of my slumber, got me away from the status quo, and reminded me that it's actually fun sometimes to get behind the wheel. Because after all, it's not always about getting from point A to B, but sometimes about how cool and fast you get there. Now, as always, thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior. Keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.